Natalie and I met in Montreal, Quebec. We were playing a basketball tournament. They were the out games.
I was playing for a team of Canadians, and she was playing for a team of Dutch girls. And of course, they trounced us soundly because the Dutch girls were always, well, I mean, their skills were better, but they were also a head and a half taller than all the Canadian girls.
I was in the south of France, and Natalie was at the time in Regina. And so we emailed a lot and we spoke on the phone, and we were like, okay, how can we just see if we can see each other? And the first time I flew out to Regina to visit her.
It was just really one of those things. I don't think before I met her that I really believed in that one person that you feel like you've known before you knew them. And when I met her, I did. I just thought, of course it was complicated. She had a life, I had a life, different countries, jobs, papers, qualifications.
I just totally fell in love with Natalie.
I was born in a small town called Shelburne in Lockport, so I went back and forth between the two towns. I am that student who never, ever really left school. I had the opportunity to come to the U of C and work on a PhD. Thought I might just go back to my writing and creative life, but I managed to find a spot in the university where I could both teach creatively and keep my own projects going.
I'm from the Netherlands. Moved here about 8 years ago to Calgary, Alberta. I grew up in Holland in a small village named Roelvaarnsveen. I'm a mechanical engineer by trade and play a lot of basketball, especially.
The boys are so close in age that they have each other in this way that is very special. It's almost like twins. Jasper he's always much more sociable. So you'll notice when you come in, like he'll stick his hand out for the handshake first, and Ruben takes a little bit longer to warm up. And he's very determined. And Ruben is he's like very agile, and he can climb and scale over anything. So the physical challenges, he tackles those first, and the social ones, Jasper gravitates toward those, I guess, first.
They're totally different, and they love each other. Our oldest one, he just talks all day, and he has all kinds of ideas and fantasies. The other one is also amazing. The feelings that you have as a mother is something probably that I've never experienced before, and only with these boys, you're like, those boys are the most important in my life.
And Vivian is she gets it all. She is just this natural empath, and she feels what they need. I think she's really interesting to them as well in terms of a role model. Like she does sports, she can build things, she can grab any tool and fix things, she can figure out all of that sort of stuff. And I think the boys are gonna have such a neat view of women when they grow up. They might have high expectations too. If they do grow up and date women, that any girl who's like, I can't do that, who pulls that kind of femmy stuff, it's probably not gonna wash, because they'll be like, get the screwdriver, and help tighten this thing. After we got married, Vivian just popped that question. She just looked at me and said, do you want to have a baby with me? And I just said, yeah, I really do want that. And I'd never admitted it to myself how much I really wanted that. And then for about 6 weeks after that, we're kind of like, we're gonna have a baby, we're gonna have a baby. Wait a minute. We're gonna have to do something about that, nature's just not gonna take its course. And so then we started talking about how we would do that. Would we go to the sperm bank, which is one of the first stops, I think, for lesbian couples. Vivian didn't want to do that.
Being adopted myself, I really thought it was very important for me to get a connection going for the boys with their biological father. Then they can choose if they want to meet that person that helped us make the family, then there's the possibility. Myself, I was fortunate enough to actually meet my biological parents, and that for me had a great impact and gave me a lot of rest.
So we thought maybe there's somebody who wants a child in their life, but doesn't want to be, right now, a full-on father. And so that began this period that we started joking around to each other. We called it speed dating for sperm donors. Yeah.
Yeah, lucky.
We would go and have coffee, and we'd say, here's what we're thinking. How do you, would this be something that would work for you?
Most of them, were interesting to help, but sometimes had also their whole own ideas about what that should be like or what would be potentially could be in it for them.
And I'd say altogether, we sat down and had that conversation with upwards of 25 guys. And there were even more that we corresponded with over email. Really interesting experiences, and it took us altogether maybe a year and a half to find the fellow who eventually helped us. We were in our late 30s. They said, you have to try now.
Basically, what the doctor advised us is to, be aggressive about it and both try because it doubles your odds. And so that's what we did.
And that's how we accidentally wound up pregnant at the same time. I guess one of the great things is that you do understand what the other person is going through.
At the end of the day, I think we were actually lucky that there was exactly 2 months, because at the end of Natalie's pregnancy, I was still in my 7th month, and I could still assist her with a whole lot of things. And by the time I got to be having to give birth, Natalie recovered already. So physically, I think it was good to have a little bit of space there.
Vivian and I would sit down with people over dinner, and we'd start to tell these stories of these crazy things that happened to us. And people started telling me, you need to write about this. I mean, not only because some really hilarious things happened to us with misunderstandings, things that weren't necessarily what we were looking for. So we were looking for artificial insemination, and they were not looking for artificial insemination, all kinds of crazy things.
Boy, of course you began laughing.
I gave her the draft, and I was sweating. I was more nervous about submitting that draft to my wife than I was about anything I've ever written.
She had me read it, and I loved it because she can write with such humor. I think she kind of put me more anonymous without my name in it, and then the publisher thought maybe it was better if it was my name in there, so I had to think about that one. It was little steps every time, pushing it a little further, but I think the result is pretty much amazing.
Just people in my life started telling me, I think this book could do some people some good.
I think we're very lucky to be living in Canada and the Netherlands, to have the freedom and the possibilities to raise a family. We think we're really lucky that we can make those choices and execute them. I think that's the most important thing for us right now. I don't think I would want to live in many other countries.
I think we have some great starting blocks because we have so many differences in our family. We're a mixed race family, we're a 2-mom family, we have family all over the globe. So I want to use that to let them understand the world, because I think that really is what everything else is built on.